I'm in the tune of freedom song. Everybody get on board. From north to south, from shore to shore.
As President of the United States, if the big fella upstairs allows that to happen and the American voter says yes, then I will only do it for one term. Lead by example. I won't go to the Supreme Court and ask them if it's okay if I take money, because it isn't. So I won't take any. This is what we must require. Service to America. That way, you don't end up with people up there for 8, 12, 16, 20 years, just robbing us blind and putting our best and our bravest, our young men and women in the military, in harm's way. Bill Clinton cost us lives because he ignored the evil in the world. George Bush cost us the lives of our best and bravest because he didn't understand the evil in the world, and he still doesn't. Barack Obama is just a nightmare, and this is the progressive nightmare of the boomer generation. The idea that liberal actually means liberty. They couldn't be more wrong. The only thing I'm liberal about in my life is my love for America. Everything else, I'm going to be responsible. I'm not liberal, I'm not conservative, I'm not Republican, I'm not Democrat. I'm a responsible American, and one individual responsible American taking care of myself. Charity starts at home, and when I've taken care of myself, I can help others. This is what we're here to do. That's what we require of our politicians. And I'm starting to hear this now out there a little bit. Politicians coming out saying, I'm only going to serve one term. Now they're lying to us, because the only person you're going to hear is telling the truth right now is me. One term, no campaign contributions, no salary. Now if you stand people right next to each other, forget about their issues, who simply will say to you, I will work for you for free. I will only do it for one term. And I won't take a dime. Who are you going to trust? The person next to you, to them, that's actually begging for your money, begging for your money, begging for your vote. I'm not begging for either. I'm here to serve you. If you so choose, I will do so fiercely and humbly. But if you don't, that's up to you. It's called leadership, ethical leadership. Now, make no mistake, people that are coming into play or putting these things forward have to come with a plan. The systemic changes for America have to happen in two places. Number one, they have to happen with our income tax system. Right now, income tax, they call it progressive. It's oppressive, is what it is. The last thing we need to do is tax income. In the United States of America, and frankly, human behavior all around the world, comes down to very specific needs being met. Water, food, shelter, and then belongingness. And then beyond that, there's a wide variety of different ways to get to what Abraham Maslow called self-actualization. But we're not doing a psych class right now, so if you're interested in those things, Abraham Maslow, Hierarchy of Needs, I suggest you read it because it gives you a good understanding of the human animal. So, but we all know this. The most important thing in your day will be water. If you don't get water after 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 hours, you'll start to suffer a little bit. Some of you might replace that water with a Coca-Cola or something you probably shouldn't be drinking. But it will take care of that need for a little bit. But regardless, water, food, shelter, this is not new. Everybody knows it. You don't need to be taught this. The thing that's after water, food, shelter, which we've pretty much figured out in America for the most part until we decided to throw our before we decided to actually take people who need our help, who have serious mental issues, and just throw them on the street, we had water, food, shelter figured out for the most part. We're having systemic breakdowns everywhere, but let me get back to my point. Belongingness. Belongingness is what most of America is struggling with right now, because we feel like we belong in the United States of America. We feel so strongly about it, so passionately, and for so long we've been told in the last 25 years, America's bad, America's racist, America's prejudiced, America's homophobic, America's filled with nothing but bigots. America just sucks. Why is it that every single other country on the planet, their citizens are begging to come here? They're fighting to come here. People are dying trying to get here. If there was so much bigotry and racism and a wide variety of problems that are going on here, why does everybody keep literally crossing deserts or oceans to get to this place? Because around the world, everybody knows America is the dream. We are the dream. And we are leading horribly right now because we have pathetic people that we've elected to put in place. They've lied to us, and some people have actually believed it. It's time to come back to reality. It's time to come back right now to belongingness. In America, individuals, again, remember what we are, constitutional republic, individuals get their belongingness needs met specifically in the United States of America by two things. The two things that have broken down. First of all, we get our needs met through our families. And secondly, we get our needs met through our jobs. Now, over the last 30 years, our families have broken down. My generation, the Generation X, was also called the latchkey generation because whether through divorce or need or whatever, there just wasn't any parents in the home. And so latchkey meaning we would just let ourselves in. Fortunately for me, I didn't fall into that category. So thanks, Mom and Dad. God bless, and I appreciate it. But a lot of us did. A lot of us did. And our family started breaking down right then. Divorce became a norm. Blended families, then more divorces. There's plenty of people out there that know people that have been divorced 2 or 3 times. No big deal. Okay? There's a term actually about 10 years ago that I heard of that was being referred to as, well, this is my starter marriage. Anybody married from the age of 18 to 25? Well, that's my starter marriage. I'm going to take a shot at it. Probably didn't work out, and I'll get into my serious marriage later on. We used to call that dating. Okay. Now it's a starter marriage. Regardless, what it is has been a breakdown of society over a 30-year period. This doesn't happen overnight, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody goes from 180 pounds in great shape and then 300 with type 2 diabetes in 2 weeks. It doesn't happen like that. It's a gradual process. And through that process, if there's a void, and there's a massive void, that void will be filled because human beings have to feel like they belong. Okay? We belong with our families. Our families have broken down. So then we turn to our work. Okay, well, we can get our jobs. We can work. We can take care of ourselves. Well, through the process of my generation, we've been now through multiple booms and busts. Housing's up, housing's down. Stock market's up, stock market's down. People getting laid off, now they're being rehired. We can't seem to get a consistent message going here. Why? Because the boomer generation is too busy tuning in, turning in, and dropping out. The consistent message the boomers are sending us right now, and that's why it's happening across America, is drugs are okay. It's okay. It doesn't matter whether you have a job. It doesn't matter whether you actually need to be sober to drive a car. Marijuana's okay. It's okay. It's just as bad. Marijuana's the same thing as beer and wine. Alcohol. No, it isn't. I mean, this is the most... If you take nothing away from this today, please take this from you. Marijuana and beer and wine are alcohol. Alcohol is literally 95%, if not more, water. If you went to a deserted island and had to spend 30 days on there and took nothing but beer or wine, and somebody else went to another island and took nothing but marijuana, you even throw in a lighter, okay, they wouldn't make it off the island. They'd be dead in probably about 2 weeks, where you'd come home with probably a messed up liver, but you'd come home. There's a dramatic difference between beer and wine and marijuana. Now, they're both depressants. I'm not a big fan of either of them. I've never smoked pot in my life. Frankly, I've never done any drugs. Something a whole bunch of boomers can't say. Because we lead by example. I'm not here to tell you what to do while I do something else. I'm here to show you how I live my life, right next to you on a day-to-day basis. I live in a regular neighborhood. I've dealt with 2 doors down from my house when the last housing crisis went down. I dealt with a neighbor who sold drugs out of their house. I dealt with calling the police and going down there and breaking up fights and telling people it's crazy. The things that are happening to us now should never be occurring, and they're happening because of all the policies coming through and taking place. So we have to focus back on belongingness. If we want to bring America back, we have to focus on 2 things: changing the federal income tax and closing the border.
Can you hear the wheels as they roll along? I'm in the tune of freedom song. Everybody get on board. From north to south, from shore to shore.